Tegan just cut out of the call?
I don't know.
And welcome everyone to our second Roundtable Podcast and Show Match Series. This is GoSuTGuN. Tonight I have some really awesome guests that I'm going to be with tonight. I'm here with Greetorp. How you doing today, Greetorp?
Doing great, man, as always.
Awesome, dude. Nice to have you back again. And of course, Doa. How are you doing, Doa?
Hey, man, I'm doing awesome as well. Yeah.
Awesome as well. Well, you guys are just so dandy. And I'm
Thank
here
you.
with my guest players as well. This week we have KawaiiLight come in. How are you doing, Kawhi? Kawhi.
Oh, I can't hear him. I can see him talking, but I can't hear him.
I can see him talking, but I can't hear him.
Yeah, but his microphone is a piece of crap. Just like him.
Uh-oh.
Hello?
Just like him.
There he is.
How you doing, Kawhi Rice?
Good. Just won a clan war like 2 hours ago, so pretty
Just won
happy.
a clan?
Oh,
Where'd you guys
nice.
Infinity 7.
Ace match or what?
No, I didn't have to play this time. But we won 3-1, so.
Good stuff, dude. That's awesome. 57's a really good team, man. It's not an easy task. And we're also joined by GoSuTGuN. How you doing today, T-Gun?
Pretty good as usual. Just alive. That's about it.
A lot. That's pretty good. Pretty good standard to have to be doing well. I'm alive. Life is good because of that.
I'm not dead.
Zerg answer.
Yeah.
I'm alive,
All
I guess.
So for the viewers we didn't have before, basically the way this works now is we're going to have an hour-long podcast. We're going to go over some topics, then we're going to take about 15 minutes of user questions. These are going to be topics related to the community and the scene that we currently have going on right now. After that, we're going to go ahead and have a best-of-5 show match played between our two guest players, who is going to be Kawhi Rice, of course, and T-Gun. That's going to be a really exciting TVZ. I'm really looking forward to that. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our topics tonight. The first thing I want to talk about is the MCSO, or the EG Masters Cup. Have you guys gotten a chance to look at the teams that are in this now? Anybody?
I did, but
A little
let me
bit.
bring it up again because I didn't memorize it.
We could pull it up again,
I've-
and you guys can take a look at it. But the first thing I want to go over, and I'll call you guys one by one, is how are the foreign teams going to do? Which foreign teams are going to provide the most upsets? And after that, the other topic I want to discuss is, will the Korean teams actually use their big players in this league? I mean, IM, StarTail, there's some huge name teams in this league, and do you guys think they're actually going to use their players? Do you think which teams do you guys think is even capable of making the upsets and getting those big matches done? Greetorp, we'll start with you.
I think, yes, they will use their star players for sure. Because basically it's just another chunk. It's like MLG, something like that. They want to take as much money from foreigners as possible. I know that sounds kind of weird, like they're staging some sort of huge uprising, but I think to them it's like free money, and why wouldn't they? And they're entering a pretty prestigious tournament. It has a lot of huge sponsors in it. I think this probably is going to be one of their breakout performances. Not necessarily saying that it's great for them in terms of judging the skill, rather than great for them for showing sponsors a good penetration in the market and how connected people are to these Korean teams. So for them to put out their very best rather than their B teams, which I think in terms of a business standpoint would be a complete blunder, it's going to be super, super important for them to put out their very, very strongest.
I hope
What
they
do you
do.
think?
I hope they do. They've kind of shown in the past that they don't take these types of team leagues quite as seriously, or at least they didn't initially. I think they're starting to. What we've noticed a lot with the IPL team league is that a lot of the Korean teams are really starting to kind of take it seriously and send out the players they would send out in like the GSTL, for example. So I could see IM doing that, but IM can be a little bit finicky of a team both to work with and to kind of have in the team league. So I'm actually surprised they got him to play, so props to them for being able to get him in there. But whether or not we'll see like MVP and Nestea play, I think that's going to be pretty rare if it happens at all. But I'm sure we'll see players like Happy and Yoda and Seed. I mean, they've got a really good team, but I wouldn't expect to see a lot of the top two guys.
Do you think MMA or Boxer will make an appearance for Slayers matches?
Probably MMA, yeah. Boxer generally doesn't want to play that type of thing, so I don't think we'll see him do that. But MMA they usually throw out. Slayers is a lot more open about just having everybody play too, which is pretty cool. Same thing with MVP. I mean, they'll send out DRG. I mean, I talk to the coach all the time, and he has a really good attitude about the foreign events and everything like that. They treat him just the same as they would for the GSL. So I don't think we're going to see much MVP and Nesty, but I think we'll probably see most of the big players on all the other ones, yeah.
Nice. Kawhi, what do you think? Do you think those Korean teams are going to use their big name players? And let me go over the foreign teams in it real fast for you, too. It's Mao's, Empire, Fnatic, if you still want to call Fnatic a foreign team, really, though. EG, Dignitas, and Vile are the other teams. And then for the Koreans, you have Slayers, MVP, IM, StarTail. And there's one more being announced tomorrow. Do you think the Korean teams are going to use their big players? And which of the foreign teams do you think can make for some upsets?
I don't think that Korean teams are going to be using their really top players against the foreign teams specifically. Maybe they'll use some of their top players against other Korean teams, but I feel like a clan league like this against foreign teams are going to also give their lesser-known players the opportunity to show what they're made of, basically. And there's really no reason to use their top players as well, because those other players you've never heard of are also extremely good. You just never see them because GSL qualifiers are so hard. And I think Fnatic will do really, really well because they just got Alive, who's like top 5 Korean Grandmasters, and maybe Mouse Sports because I feel like they're the strongest foreign team right now.
I agree.
What do you
I think they've got a lot of good people.
Before I was so rudely interrupted by Dora there, I just want to say that generally saying will they use their top players is kind of annoying because we don't know how they perform in practice. We see people like Nesty and MVP obviously a lot because they're really good in the GSL. But if I could take the StarTail team, for example, obviously everyone's going to say Bomber's their top player because he's amazing. But in practice, you can have players like Squirtle, who I don't think is in GSL right now, who I've heard is just an absolute beast in practice. So if they sent him out, people would, let's say they sent him out as the ace instead of Bomber. People would go, why wouldn't you send out Bomber? Bomber's obviously the best. But we don't see the behind-the-scenes practice where they do in-house rankings or whatever. So saying, will they send out their top players, I think they'll always send out the players they think are best for the occasion. Obviously, they might lead out with less experienced players to get them some sort of experience in the sort of clan war setting. But I think that people really don't give credit to the Korean coaches that they deserve because all the Korean coaches aren't stupid. They're not going to send out a player just because they don't respect another team. They send out the player that they think is best for the job. So I think that they could genuinely send out the A-list quote-unquote players, which would be the ones, the fan favorites, the ones that everyone knows. But I think they're more likely to analyze the situation, see what they feel is the best player to send out. Is it a Zerg, Protoss, Terran, whatever? Is it a person that plays a certain style? And go from there. They won't just be, like IM wouldn't just be like, all right, let's send out Nesty and MVP every single week because they're amazing. Because they have a very good lineup that has different situational uses.
Mm-hmm. That's actually a really good point too. That the Korean teams definitely pick the right person for the job rather than just kind of pick whoever they feel like is going to be the person that's going to get a lot of wins or something like that. The Korean teams prepare a lot of snipers too, and I think they're going to start doing that a lot more for the foreign events as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of interesting things that can happen. Like, for one, I mean, you have a team like Slayers. I can't really think of a player in Slayers that's quote-unquote small. Like, every player in Slayers is like this giant beast.
Maybe Brown.
At least been in the, Brown. But even him, he's a giant beast anyways, right?
Or Crank, maybe.
It's like a bunch of people that have done really well in the GSL. For the foreign teams, though, I think that it's going to be a surprise. I I definitely think the Korean teams are going to beat the majority of the foreign teams the majority of the time, obviously. But I do think there will be some upsets, and even more than that, I think a lot of the matches are going to be really, really close. EG has a phenomenal lineup right now. Empire and Mao's, those teams are scary good. Empire wins like everything. Mao's is the same way. If Empire's not winning the foreign leagues, it seems like it's Mao's, like one of those two teams, and they can never be ruled out. And their lineups have so much depth, really. Vile got voted in, and Vile also has a lot of players that are really overlooked. State is really good, Dodoro's really good, Illusion's really good.
Dude,
There's just a lot of
exciting,
players
man.
there that could... Yeah, there's a lot of teams in there that could, are capable of a lot, and I think there will be at least a lot of really close games that'll surprise people. That's kind of where I'm standing on that. Next thing we're going to go over, and we're going to talk about one of our North American leagues that no one ever talks about. And for my notes, KawaiiLight's laughing because for my notes, I put ESCA. What the hell, bro? Because I don't know what to say. ESCA, first of all, is supposed to be like a great league as far as in other games. And the coverage was pretty good. I remember watching Counter-Strike, like the very few times I watched Counter-Strike back in the day on there, and like some of those kinds of games. It was really neat. But for StarCraft, there's like very little coverage, and I got to give props to Check 6 Gaming Suppy, because every time there is anything written about ESCA, it's Suppy doing these huge LR threads. It's awesome. But why are they doing this? Why are they putting this league? And by the way, the prize pool is great. It's like $2,800 for first place. It's pretty substantial for a team. Like, why are they putting this huge prize pool and huge investment into getting the StarCraft 2, but not really using it to their fullest? What do you think, Greetorp?
I'm not really too familiar with it, so I'm going to listen to you guys, and then you guys can go first. I want to hear exactly what you're saying.
All right, well, I'll let KawaiiLight go first then, because he's been in this league like many weeks now with Light. So
Well, I have no idea. I have no idea why they don't try and, I don't know, make it more noticed. But it's also really annoying because my team's been doing really well in it. We're in the loser bracket finals now, and we play Check 6 on. I don't know when we're scheduling that, but it's sort of, it's really competitive clan league, and it's sort of annoying that teams don't get recognition for doing well in it, even though it's a good event and stuff, but there's just no publicity for it.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of really good teams in it. Let's talk about a couple of the teams that are in it. Infinity 7's in it. Light's in it. Check 6 is in it. It's GoSu, our team's in it. NMX, they're another team that a lot of people don't know. It's actually pretty good. Clash was in it, and they had some upsets. There's a lot of good teams in that, and I just don't understand it either. T-Gun, what do you think's the deal there?
I think they just don't have anyone on staff for publicity, much less admin duties. Like, they just seem like they're really understaffed. But they're still trying to put on a tournament, which is cool. It's just, it comes off with a very sour taste for everyone that sees it, because they see such a lot of money being put into it, and look at the outcome. EC is getting very little exposure from it. So in the long run, they might end up just canning the tournament because they haven't got exposure from it, which sucks. I think they need to maybe look at Playhem, who has a very, very small budget, but like they put on tournaments every day, and they get thousands of viewers every day on the Playhem TV channel. So I think they just need to work on really their publicity, maybe get some volunteers in there. I know if you ever make a thread asking for volunteers to do admin duties or to help with publicity, write up threads, things like that, people jump at those opportunities because there's very few jobs involved in esports. Even unpaid jobs, people are happy to do it. I think they just haven't reached out to do that, and I think that's a real mistake by them.
Yeah, if you're going to get started with something like that, you kind of have to get the community involved. You can't just try to go it alone. Otherwise, you have just that exact situation happening. You've got too much work for too few people. So, yeah, I think engaging the community and getting some volunteers would be a great thing for them.
Greetorp?
Yeah, I mean, publicity is really hard, but the fact that they don't have something, normally the big places go Team Liquid and and Reddit, and you really have to like jazz it up when you're on Team Liquid. I mean, especially for the NASL, because obviously I work for the NASL. You can see all our LR threads are just jazzed up. There's, and same thing for IPL. There's a lot of graphics. There's the format has to be perfect. All the links have to be right. Stuff like that. It's something like it feels like busy work, right? It's like the number one busy work, but like it has to be done and has to happen if you want to have good publicity or if you even want it to be on the charts. And it's interesting because it really shows, I think, another thing, which is Team Liquid's like connectability to the user. I mean, really, without Team Liquid, I don't think there would be another way, even more than Reddit too. I don't think there would be a better way other than Team Liquid to actually promote something like that, like a team league or whatever it might be, anything streaming. I mean, look at this program, right? Our main consumer base is coming from, I would say, Team Liquid, just because the thread is always there. Reddit, it goes away after maybe a day or a couple days or whatever it might be. But in this case, it's always going to be there, and that's one thing I think is so important. It shows like you need a good like proportion to it. So if it's something that's really really important, like a $2,800 first place, you need to be able to like have a really good LR thread that represents a $2,800 first place tournament.
Dude, Greetorp is so smart. That's like really actually very true, because here's the thing is that a lot of other esports are actually running into problems promoting their stuff because they don't have a Team Liquid-like site that's kind of the central hub for everybody to go and visit. So, yeah, I mean, Team Liquid is huge. If you don't have a proper live report thread, then you're going to have a lot less viewers, definitely.
Well, and one thing I will say about Team Liquid, and I think the reason why a lot of people don't use Team Liquid to advertise, or try not to, I should say, is because they see Team Liquid as like a competitor almost. Like, it's like, we want that traffic, so we can't use their site. And I think people approach it with that manner, and I think that's completely the wrong way to approach it. Team Liquid has been fantastic with allowing other people to really advertise all kinds of great stuff on there, and that's really cool on their part. And I think for people not to take advantage of that opportunity and that coverage that they let us use is almost silly in all reality.
Yeah, well, I mean, they get it, man. They know that they have to be thinking about more than just themselves if they want esports to grow. So, yeah, I mean, I love that they've kind of put their site out there as this platform that people can kind of use as sort of a jumping off point for getting their stuff going, too. It's just really unique and cool thing.
The management from TL, and I'm not trying to, stroke their penises by any means, but the management there like knows their shit quite well. No, seriously, because I was looking at the chat, I saw Liquid Sheth in there. I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, they're so good. No, but seriously,
Corp's a Team Liquid penis stroker. That's what we learned tonight so far.
They know what they're doing. I mean, technically, like, if we were trying to do this in a newspaper, right? If this was a newspaper, we would get charged, right? Like, a lot of people would get charged.
True.
But they know, I mean, this is a developing industry. We have to do stuff like that. So Team Liquid has been really, really great at just, being that catalyst, I think, for not just StarCraft 2, but esports. I mean, you see they're expanding to League of Legends. They're expanding to the Dota series. It's, I might not be a huge fan of League of Legends or whatever it might be, but it's good. It's good that they're doing that. They're realizing that, hey, this is something that is going to really help the community, so let's go ahead and get on that. And they've done a great job so far. I mean, I really have to hand it to, especially, well, I don't know. Okay, I'm just going to hand it to their management, all of them, because they've been really good about that.
Dude, Riot knows what's up. They're really pushing esports like no other company, including Blizzard, is right now. I mean, it sounds like Blizzard might be more involved with that stuff this year, but Riot is really kind of the model company for getting their stuff out there as a competitive game right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Riot's doing a great job. All right, the next topic we're going to move into is there's some huge name Korean players in the market right now. Nada definitely being one of them that just kind of said, hey, I'm open to a foreign team if the offer's right. Another one that I'm going to throw out there is Killer from TSL. He's an absolute monster of a player as well. And where I'm going with this is they're both looking towards foreign teams, it sounds like. What are their options, actually? I can't imagine either one of them going with anything but a pretty substantial salary, what teams do you think they actually have that can actually afford what they're looking for if they want them, so to speak? Which teams do you think they could turn to? Doa, what do you think?
Well, it looks like Fnatic can. I mean, they just picked up Alive, and I know he was one of the guys that was making a good amount of money on TSL, so apparently they can. As far as other teams, I mean, I'm sure EG can put up some decent money, but that's the thing, is that there's a lot of these Korean players leaving teams looking for foreign companies, and while there will be teams that can pay them that amount at some point, probably later this year, I don't think there's a lot right now, and I'm worried about a lot of these players kind of doing this because what they're kind of ending up doing to themselves is just giving themselves a really bad practice environment, and just kind of spending a lot of energy trying to find a team, and then when they finally do, they're not that good anymore, and then they have to re-practice and get back to where they were at, and then by then everyone's ahead of them. So I think it's a little premature for a lot of these Korean players to be jumping to different teams, but I think overall it's a good thing that we have Koreans doing that, but I think some of them are a little bit ahead of where things are at for that to really work well right now.
Greetorp, who do you think they're going to go to? Who do you think they can turn to?
Think Evil Geniuses and Quantic, Complexity.
That's a good one.
It's funny because you have to be careful because a lot of these teams, they do have Koreans on them, but they're paying for them at a premium, in my opinion. There's very few teams, and I actually know some of the teams that are paying basically nothing for the Koreans, and I think taking advantage of them, but obviously I'm not going to go into detail with that. But I think that's super, super rare, and it's going to be a gimmick for now. But going forward, I think in the future, paying for Koreans will be at a premium compared to foreigners, always, just because, I mean, Koreans, they have a lot of, how do I want to explain this without sounding racist as hell? I guess I just made it really, really racist, but they have for me, right, like just throughout the experience I've had, they have a general superiority complex in terms of play style or just in terms of how good they are in this game. And that's what I've seen through StarCraft 1, and StarCraft 2 is carried over quite a bit. So I would think that they would say, okay, I should be more than X foreigner or whatever it might be because I'm training this much. I need that type of salary. So I think in general, it's only going to be the top teams that will be purchasing them, and then like a couple of the minor teams, I shouldn't say minor, but B teams, will be able to pick up maybe one or two, but it's going to be pretty costly. Like I think Alive was very expensive, but
I'm sure.
I think the other Koreans weren't as much just because they're not huge Korean players. I think like JYP was expensive. I think Puma was expensive. Well, Puma probably got recontracted to be expensive or something like that. But like, obviously those type of Koreans, I think they're definitely, MC was definitely expensive, put it that way. They're not going to be getting salaries like even someone like Sen, even though Sen is a huge superstar, I don't think he's getting nearly as much on Gamma Bears as he could be getting on somewhere like Evil Geniuses.
KawaiiLight.
I'm sorry. I like to talk. Go ahead, KawaiiLight.
KawaiiLight, are we going to see like a Not a Light anytime soon, or what?
No, I think these top Koreans, they probably cost too much money for smaller teams to pick up. So like Nada and Killer, the two Koreans you mentioned, I can only see like big teams being able to afford them. And one problem I think we might be seeing right now is like maybe a team can afford this player or that player, but they might not necessarily want them because like having these players is I mean, you get a lot of publicity, which maybe is good, but when you want to actually play for a clan war, maybe like you don't need that many players, or you already have too much Terran players, too much Protoss players, or maybe they just won't fit in your team. Like they won't really communicate with other team members or something. And yeah, aside from like salaries, I feel like that's really important. And then having so many Koreans looking into joining foreign teams is sort of oversaturating the player market, I suppose.
Yeah, well, there's definitely so many Koreans right now looking for foreign teams that they're actually depreciating their own value in some ways. Like from a team management perspective, if I can pick up one Korean for, say 500 a month, that's on the same level of someone that wants 3,000, the choice becomes easy. And because what they're looking for is varying so much, it makes things really interesting right now. GoSuTGuN, what do you think about all this?
I want to touch on the point Kawhi said, how a lot of them just cost so much it's hard to justify picking them up. Like, when you look at, we'll stick with the example of Nato and Killer. I know Dragon's not on the team, but he's a different sort of player that you pick up, sort of akin to Destiny almost. But with Nada and Killer, you look at them and you say, how much exposure can I get? This is from a team manager's point of view. My apologies to anyone that's sort of confused. The team manager has to look at how well can I use this player to generate money. That is, like how much revenue can he generate, and then you look at things like how well will he mesh with the team, how well will he do in like clan wars and things like that, because you need to be able to justify that cost to your team. You couldn't have a team of, say, players that are all contracted on $500 a month for just a rough value, and then bring in a player that's contracted on $3,000 a month without him generating something like 6 times the revenue of the other players, because that just wouldn't be fair, and it isn't a smart business decision. And I think that a lot of the Korean players that are looking for teams are doing just that. They're asking for too much, because they hear of certain players, I don't want to name players, but certain players who are getting paid a hell of a lot. They are getting paid huge numbers. And they think, I'm better than that guy. Why can't I get that much? And that's where that's where the problem comes in, is they look at themselves, they say, I'm definitely better than this guy. And then to them, that justifies them asking for a higher amount of money. And then if you look at a player, just to touch on Dragon, I said he's somewhat akin to Destiny, because when a team looks at Dragon, they can look at his stream as something, as I'm sure Quantic did with Destiny. You've seen that there's been issues with, for the lack of a better term, public relations with how Destiny handles himself on his stream. But Quantic doesn't care, because out of all that publicity, they're still getting a good chunk of it, even if it's bad publicity. They always say, no publicity is bad publicity, because you're still getting your name out there. So with someone like Dragon, you have that guaranteed stream viewership. Like, he's on the front page of Reddit every other day when he's streaming. So you have that to look at, and he could ask for a higher price. But I think as a majority of Koreans come out of teams, they need to really reevaluate what they're asking for, because a lot of them are asking for just way more than they should be.
Yeah, I think
agree.
a lot of people are being marketed on their name above their skill, but I think that's just kind of a symptom of the industry being a little bit newer. So I think as time goes on and skill becomes more valuable over time than the front page of Reddit, we'll see the prices kind of fluctuate back to where they should be with that.
Absolutely. And on that note, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break, come back in with a couple more topics, take those user questions, and get the show match started.
How long is this Back.
All right, guys. The next thing I want to go ahead and go over, and this is actually one of the questions that I have for both TGuN and KawaiiLight. You both kind of left larger organizations and joined smaller gaming organizations that are growing quite fast that are showing a lot of potential. What kind of led you to make that decision, and how has it been so far, kind of changing directions with what you're doing and switching teams? Have you guys enjoyed the process? Go ahead and start with you, KawaiiLight.
When I was when I first joined Fnatic, I was back in like the StarCraft 2 beta. It was originally like half of the members were actually from the StarCraft 1 Team Light.
No, it wasn't Team Light, you idiot.
Dude, like half of it. Team Pandemic, whatever, dude.
It's Pandemic and Expertise.
Same thing, dude.
Nah, son.
Still,
Nah.
Manor, bro. Manor, go ahead,
Okay,
Kawhi.
you stick with your sponsors. It's like Fnatic Raid Call
Okay.
now, right? Do they call it Fnatic
Yeah.
MSI?
I didn't
Go
say
ahead,
Fnatic
Kawhi.
MSI.
And then it got
Okay,
heated.
So, like after a while, like all the all the old members started leaving, like Andre, TT1. Oh my god, my mind blanked out. There's like so many people that left.
Andre, TT1, JF,
Sen.
Sen. Well, Sen wasn't part of Team Light, but still, it felt like he was. Phoenix, to an extent. If you want to interchange Phoenix with Juan. Because at the time, they were just as annoying. Who else was there? I think that's it. Right? JF was the other one?
Dia.
Oh, yeah.
Dia.
Oh, your favorite friend. All right, you guys kind of fell out. We won't go into
I feel
that.
bad putting Kawhi on the show because Retorp just gonna interrupt you all day.
Sorry.
So go ahead, Kawhi. Go ahead.
Okay.
Retorp has no mana.
Hold on. Fuck you, TT1. Okay, go ahead.
Hey man, he beat Nada on TV, alright? Even though it was maybe a little bit lucky, he still did it.
Oh,
I was proud of that.
He's a luck bag, bro.
Ow.
That was the most gimmicky game in the world. I always say TT1 is the most gimmicky person in the world.
Also,
Hey, he got burned by the
jokes.
flamethrowers in the studio after that, so I guess the world was back in balance after that. I don't know.
Go ahead, Kawhi. Go ahead and finish your answer. You're getting stepped on. I'm sorry.
Okay. So, yeah, after like 1 or 2 years, like all the old members were pretty much gone from Fnatic, and during that entire time, I was also sort of raising my own backyard team, the Kiwi Clone Army, which is basically all of Team Light now except for like Golden, Starlight, and stuff. And I sort of wondered, like, I didn't have like any good results back when I was on Team Fnatic, and you know the team environment wasn't very good for me because I wasn't like very talkative with them, and because of like all the time zones and stuff, because most of the players were in like Europe or Korea, it just didn't really feel like a team to me. And when Duran offered to sort of start a Team Light again, I just kind of felt like it was the right choice for me, because I wasn't really looking to make a lot of money or something, but I wanted to have fun while I played StarCraft 2, and I think doing that with a bunch of people that I know really well and I respect was the right decision.
One thing that I will mention about the team you joined too is that Fnatic didn't just lose a lot of their players over that time. They also lost their manager and Xeris, who started Team Light. And Xeris is definitely, if not the best, one of the best managers in StarCraft 2 right now. And I think Light's going to be
That
really
guy,
successful, just
no.
largely because of that.
You're crazy, bro. That guy steals seats like crazy. He's just a big asshole, bro. That guy is
GoSuTGuN,
such an
what was
ass.
it like for you? What was it like for you going from a kind of a bigger organization FXO to a smaller one like us? And how has that felt? How has that been for you so far?
And be careful how you
well,
answer it, because your paycheck depends on it.
Exactly.
Just saying.
I'll
Just
never
saying.
send you to an event ever if you're mean to me.
Fair warning.
Okay with it. Basically, when I left FXO, it was when I'd come back from Korea. And for those that were keeping track around that time, the Malaysian house had fallen through. They originally had the whole big media friends who were like, oh yeah, we're going to have a team house here in Malaysia. And they took pictures of it, posted on Team Liquid, and yeah, that had essentially fallen through. Not because of FXO, but because of some issues around the land there. And I was actually planning on moving out there to live out there. But I'd come back from Korea, and with the acquisition of FOYU, without saying too much about the inner workings of it, the foreign team was getting less and less, obviously, because they had all of these players in Korea that they could easily market as well. So when I left FXO, it was less of me being part of the team and more just a tag on my name. Like, I never really practiced with anyone because I was really, really laggy on Korea then, so I couldn't practice on Korea with the team there, although I'm sure if I was able to play on Korea, they would have practiced with me. So when I switched to GoSu, it went from me just having a big tag associated with my name but no one to practice with. Switching to GoSu was GoSu's still in my eyes mid to top tier for foreign teams. So when I switched from FXO to GoSu, it went from just having this big tag associated with my name and having very few people to practice with to having a different tag associated with my name but having a really, really big lineup of practice partners available to me. And it was a lot more close-knit. Like, all the foreign players on FXO were really close-knit, and when I switched to GoSu, it's the exact same feeling, except I'd lost out on FXO, so it was a good switch. And then now I'm able to practice a lot better because I have so many more people available during the times that I can play to practice with, in comparison to when I was nearing the end of FXO.
Okay. And this is going to be something I'm going to go at with everyone that we're going to start our user questions. So guys, if you have questions for TGuN or KawaiiLight, tweet them to me at GoSuRum, and we will take those questions here in just a few minutes.
Ooh.
But the next thing I'm going to ask, and this goes to everybody.
Even
What do you guys think? What do you guys think it takes for a newer organization? I'll use its GoSu for example, or Light for an example, or a team that's really up and coming to succeed as an organization to get the bigger sponsors. What do you think it takes for them to do in order to continue to grow and move in the right direction? Greetor, we'll start with you.
Consistent results. Number one thing. You can't have anything else before you get consistent results. That's like, it's going to be so hard to do that too, because it's like all the team leagues that happen, all the regular season, you need that. And the big problem that comes into my mind with getting consistent results with an individual team, that's why you have mainly 3 or 4 teams that have all the players, is that once your player starts to get some recognition and they start winning consistently, it's usually one player or so, then they get poached. It's like the hardest thing to actually stop players from doing. And I think if teams are able to actually act like a family, like I love what KawaiiLight said, Scott, that I'm exactly like that. But if teams are able to do that, able to just have that connection with the players and able to retain them and also grow the players at the same time, then you'll have a team that'll actually get recognition and then get sponsorship dollars, because now they have a lot of exposure, they have a lot of results that they can back, and become one of the let's say 4 or 5 top teams in the foreign scene.
TGuN, what do you think it takes for an organization to make it?
Oh, I'm second. Yes. Basically, like Andre said, a lot of results, and on top of that, good publicity. You can have all the results in the world. Like I know Vile has actually is doing well for a long time before Illusion started just destroying absolutely everyone, but they didn't really go out of their way on publicity. Besides, of course, Vile Sai, who runs StarCraft on YouTube, and then for example, in this EG Masters Cup, they had Sai post a video on YouTube urging everyone to go there and vote for them to get them into it, which got them
Didn't
like
Husky actually do that?
I think
Or
Husky
something
might have
crazy?
also done it, but Sai also
Yeah.
did it because he's in Vile, his Vile Sai, and he would have got them like his videos on average get around 20 to 50,000 views. He's actually pretty well known, and then so it's a combination of both. It's both results in tournaments, like Playham dailies are obviously just great to keep playing in because the more you place in those, the more people will recognize you, especially if you're streaming, as well as having people just posting threads like, look at us doing backflips and crap, just having stuff out there. So it's really a combination too. You can't just have great results and no publicity, but you can't just have a hell of a lot of publicity and no results because if you have one extreme but not the other, you sort of lose that synergy. I think you just need a combination of both.
Absolutely. KawaiiLight, what do you think it takes for a new organization to kind of work their way up?
I love what you've done with your hair, by the way, since the last time we saw you in this conversation.
Yeah, KawaiiLight, the new look's
What did I
working for you.
do? I
New
have
look
no
is
idea.
looking good, man.
I
You
wish
didn't
I
share
could
your
see him
webcam,
to-
clown. You look like a stupid bitch.
Oh, god damn it.
You look like an ugly, stupid bitch.
Fucking kill you.
Hey.
All right.
That was going to be
one's
one of
good.
my questions, though. I was going to tweet in, hey, Scott, who's the ugly bitch next to Adrian on the left-hand side of his webcam?
Dude, you
Okay,
wanna
well,
fucking die?
You can still tweet that later. All right,
Hey, she's
KawaiiLight,
got
go
big
ahead. What do you
dreams.
think? We always interrupt KawaiiLight. Be nice.
All this time, you guys are like, yeah, watch your language on the stream,
Sorry,
and then, you want to fucking die? Fucking dick.
Okay, hold on. Let me just say that's been a running joke. I know exactly who that is. That's Mizuki Nana to his left, the legendary and beautiful Mizuki Nana. And every single time I say hello to him, I always ask him, "How's the stupid bitch going?" or something along those lines, and he always replies, "I'm gonna fucking kill you." Every single time.
You know,
right,
someday you're going to meet her and it's going to be so awkward.
Dude, I'm down.
Kawhi,
man.
go ahead with the question, man.
Oh my god.
He's gone.
Okay.
Scared him away.
He's completely
Thanks, Screech. Thank you.
He's gone.
I mostly agree with what Gridtorp said earlier. On like all points, the only thing I really have to add is that it seems like you have to get really, really lucky at this point to become a noticed team because all the players are sort of established now, and to break in, you would have to have like a handful of really good players that you can keep from getting poached, like Andre said, and like if they can continue consistently improving, and then like will they have the opportunity to get noticed, because most of these tournaments these days are like so invite based, or they're really hard to get into. Like if you win like a random Playham Open or something, no one really cares at all. And to get into like a LAN like IEM, you have to win like a super big bracket thing that's incredibly hard. So it's just really hard to get noticed as a small team, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Doa, what do you think?
I think for a team to like make it right now, I'm gonna go like the opposite of the publicity thing. I mean, the publicity thing is nice too, and this is gonna sound kind of weird from like a guy whose job pretty much on the team that he's on is to try to publicize his team, which I will start doing better, by the way, once I have my own apartment and a computer again. But
You terrible
I digress.
PR guy, you.
I know, I'm the
Trash.
worst ever. All right. But no, here's the thing. Oh, there you go. Yeah, just leave that there. But anyway, so I'm looking at the stream while I say this. But what a team really needs to break out and do well and have success is just a good coach and a good practice routine. I mean, that's... excuse me, I'm still like dying from this cold I've had for the last 2 weeks. San Francisco is like trying to kill me, I think. But that's
Okay with
a lot of the Western teams have like a collection of good players, you know, but they don't have a good practice setup, and I think the coaching is lacking too. I mean, they I mean, I learned a lot about how the Korean teams do it, being in Korea for most of last year, and it's just so different over there. The coaches are much, much more involved. The practicing is much, much more kind of, I guess you could say, results oriented. It's kind of like, you have a problem with this, so we're going to make you practice this until you fix it, and that's what you're going to do pretty much all the time. Whereas in the Western team, it's like, oh, I'm bad at TVT, so I guess I'm just going to go ladder for a while. It seems like the practice, not and it's everyone talks about practice ethics, but it's really just more practice strategy. I think that could use work on the Western teams, and I think if a lot of them do that, then we'll have a lot better Western players. I think once the Western team houses start happening, that's going to be a much bigger deal. I'm hoping that something will happen to get teams in the West to like start to centralize too. Like if there's something that got like the teams to move to a certain area, that'd be really cool, like around a certain city and a region in America, a region in Europe or something like that. Because there's no reason why we can't have a Seoul, Korea-like atmosphere in a different part of the world. Something just needs to happen to provide that. So if those things start happening, teams are going to be really good.
So the first thing that GoSu needs to do then is find a real coach, you're saying, huh, Noah?
No. I think our coach is great. We have some. No.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and take an approach to this that not anyone said yet, and this is from an organizational standpoint. Like what we've done here at GoSu and what hopefully will pay off is we have now one of the best Dota 2 teams. We have a successful StarCraft team, or a pretty successful StarCraft team. We have a great Han team. We have a League of Legends team that's coming up. And I think for sponsors, I think that they look at how marketable you are and how many ways you can market them. And I think if you're in another game, and if your team has if your organization has multiple teams, it gives sponsors a way to network to a whole another community, which in turn raises your value. And the more you're worth, the more you're going to get, which is going to make you grow. And I think if you look like what EG has done, and obviously they're huge. They do an amazing job over there, their management, or they wouldn't be so successful. But they have multiple teams. They have Street Fighter players, and all of them are very, very good getting those consistent results. But I think on top of the consistency and on top of players breaking out, I think it's really important to branch off into more ways so you have even more ways to market someone. But yeah, I think that's really, really important. Now, guys, we're going to go ahead and start taking the user questions that were tweeted to me at GoSuRum. KawaiiRice, one of your old friends asked you a question. Okay, he wants to know when Xeris is going to send you to Korea because kids got some skills with a Z. And is it true false that Retorb looks like Ongbok?
TT1, go fuck yourself, bro. You're such a stupid bitch. Next fucking question. This TT1. I support him so much in freaking NASL to the point where it's biased because everyone knows he's fucking awful, okay? And that kid trolls me everywhere I go, whether it be Skype, whether it be my shows, everything. TT1, go screw yourself. But
John's pretty cool, man.
This question was for KawaiiRice, actually. So let's let KawaiiRice
I feel like every question directed towards KawaiiRice has had GreatOrb answer it. Like, why is KawaiiRice even here? We don't even need him. We got GreatOrb.
Kawhi, go ahead. When are you going to Korea? When's Xeris going to send you to Korea?
I can't really go because I have to do college. My parents are really supportive of my sort of, I guess, hobby, career, whatever you want to call this. But their one condition is that I keep going to school and do well there. And I'm currently a sophomore at University of Washington, Bothell. So, I have like 2 years until I'm done. So, yeah, nowhere in the near future.
You could have just shortened that to say, I have Chinese Asian parents.
Do you ever shut your mouth?
Fuck you, man.
I'll answer that question for Retorb now. He really doesn't shut his mouth very often.
I can't.
Okay.
It's impossible.
Andre, I'm actually going to send this question to you because you're all into maps. Sadistic said, wants to know, how do you think maps will evolve in 2012 in general from your racial perspectives? And they've grown in size rapidly of late. So what do you think about the maps? Where do you think they're going, Andre?
They're going to decrease in size and they're going to decrease in expansion numbers. We're seeing
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I think
Please don't do that.
split
sounds
map
really bad.
split map will be maybe 5 or 6 mineral patches. I'm thinking 5 right now. I think
only 6 patches.
huh? Or
That's
no,
it? Only
not
six.
mineral patches. Excuse me, like expansion places. So like
It's like half of fastest map possible.
it's like if you split a map, there should be only like a total of 10 gas that you can take. I think.
So kind of like Metropolis.
No, Metropolis is way too big.
If you split Metropolis right now, you get 5 bases each. Then there's 2 islands and there's 2 bases in the middle, which are always heavily contested.
Yeah.
I played an hour-long game earlier.
I think
Playhem on it.
There definitely needs
And
to be more than
5
2 bases in the middle of the map between both of you, because I'm finding that like favors or it screws over Zerg so much because Terran and Protoss have like the easiest pushes. It's like they just split map and all they do is deny those expansions. They win the game. That's like I think the dumbest games ever, and we see that.
How do you explain that Zerg is winning at all the long games right now? Then
Yeah,
like they've got the highest win rate
at
like by far the highest win rate if the game goes long.
Yeah, but it doesn't necessarily mean that people are playing it right, correct? Because we're seeing a lot of variance in early game.
Well, this is even in like the top level Korean play though.
I understand. Even in top level Korean play, I don't think they play right. Like not all of them play right. Don't get me wrong, a lot of them do, but there's a lot of shitty play in top Korean play.
I'm not like trying to call you out or anything, but like how are they playing wrong? I'm just curious.
A lot of like theoretical things, how they're opening up the builds. A lot of their builds don't make sense. No, I shouldn't say a lot. There are people that go into it and just the overall build just makes absolutely no sense. I'm not going to call out specific players.
Can I have
You don't think so? I mean,
next question that was tweeted.
No, hold on, no, because I want to actually go on this. I mean, do you think right now,
Yeah,
even
I'm
at
curious.
like the top foreign scene, right, that people are actually coherent with their builds and know exactly what they're doing? I don't.
We're
think
not
so
even
at all.
on the question anymore.
So this has become a real talk show. All right,
Exactly.
that's good.
Yeah, like the point of this question is Korea, and we're back in America. That's how far we've veered.
You're just jealous because we're not in Australia, man. I mean, I'm sorry. It's like
No,
way
you're
down there
just
in the
jealous
bottom
because
corner
you're
of the
not in
world.
Australia.
Actually, I was gonna say it's much warmer there, but it's actually not that much warmer there now. I mean, I'm in a nice warm place.
Is it called
All
a
right.
house with pets?
We don't have crocodiles, so
Go ahead and move on to the next question now. That way we can get the show match started in about the next 5 minutes.
Okay.
Someone says, what about Dragon? What do you want to know about
That's
Dragon?
not a question.
It's like- I don't know. He was on
That's
players,
kind of
now
a
he's
tough
not. He
one to
streams
answer.
a lot and does funny things. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's Dragon.
I mean,
What about Dragon? Well,
okay,
he's male.
from an organization's perspective, he definitely has some marketability, but is he going to win you huge matches that really count? And to be honest with you, I don't think Dragon is at the level of a lot of the foreigners even. So I think that if someone picks him up, it's almost strictly from a marketing standpoint, not really a winning player standpoint perspective.
I think he knows that. I think he's just enjoying his streaming stuff and
Oh yeah,
I don't know
he's
if
doing a good job of what he's
taking
doing
it
for
there.
sure.
He's entertaining. I mean, I've watched him once in a while. He's fun to watch, but I don't know. Next
Someone
question.
asks who's going to be on next week. I have one player that I'm waiting to hear from the confirmation from, but I'll tell you one of the players on the show next week for an hour. It'll be fun. Will be Destiny. We'll have Destiny on here for an hour talking about fun stuff and then playing a show match. And as soon as I post a thread in a day or two, you will see who he will be playing. And on that note, guys, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break, and we're going to start the show match in the next 3 to 5 minutes.
You didn't take predictions.
Who's bloodthirsty?
He's not here anymore. He's just one of my friends.
All right, we're back. What's up, ladies and gentlemen?
Just waiting on
Yo.
Kawhi to join the game. We'll get this rolling. Players ready. I don't even need to ask the casters because they're always ready. Up. There's some random guy that no one's ever heard of just joined the game and he can't be here. Got to take care of that. Players, are they ready?
You actually
I
removed
bet.
him?
Yeah, I did because it's funny. I bought Pam a cup of cheese one time. True story, bro. Are they ready? That's actually a really good story. I'll share that story in the downtime of this game, okay?
All right.
Just waiting on Kawhi. Has Kawhi said anything? Alright guys, as soon as Kawhi is ready, we'll get this started. This will be a best of 5 on pretty much MLG map pool.
All right,
I'm
we
looking
got to
forward
talk
to
about it a
talking
little bit
to
because it's
Greetorp.
bothering me up inside. It's bothering me up inside, Doa. I want to talk about talk about Koreans and their play style.
Go for it.
Okay.
All right, go for it.
All right.
All right.
This is my case, okay? This is the conclusion that I've drawn by watching all the Koreans, not only in GSL, but in everything else, whether it be MLG, whether it be NASL, whether it be IPL, everything. You put them together, and what I'm saying, right, is that Koreans aren't nearly as good as we think they are in terms of just overall play. Yes, there are, like, really, really good players that have made a name for themselves. But, I mean, you've even seen, like, Artosis raging at these people because they're just so awful. And even though Idra, like, is a super huge rager, normally when he says, like, oh, well, these people are just a flash in the pan, they're not really going to go anywhere, that's normally true. And if you see just, like, the turnover in the GSL, it's pretty huge. So that's what I'm talking about. There's a lot of stupid shit that goes on. So normally, like, the data that you get, I think first off, it's too soon to tell. But the data that you get in the GSL, it's still too few to actually, like, conclude anything from it just yet. I'm saying it, all of my stuff from a theoretical level, just watching everything and me being a huge analysis guy.
Okay. I think specifically you were talking about that the GSL players play way too greedy, and I definitely agree with you on that point. They are way, way too greedy. But wouldn't you still have to say that they're generally better than other people who are not Korean players?
Oh,
not all, but most.
That wasn't the case, though, right?
Oh,
I
don't know.
agree. I
That's what I'm
agree
trying to
that
find
they're
out.
better than foreigners by a large margin. But we were particularly talking about Zergs playing at endgame and how statistically right now they have.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Sorry, I forgot.
And
Okay.
and the biggest example is going to be something like Antigua Shipyard. Like we can say from a theoretical standpoint, I don't know if you're big onto that, but from a theoretical standpoint, I don't think Zerg should ever win on that map because Protoss and Terran have a very, very easy strategy. And if they get to that endgame stage, they're just going to wipe the floor. And a lot of these maps are becoming like that. Like you're seeing Daybreak slowly transitioning where Zergs aren't doing as well just because you get to that stage where both takes their sides of the map and all the Terran or Protoss have to do is snipe either of those middle expansions and prevent that from ever coming up. And then they just play defensive the whole freaking game. And you get
Now, what does that have to do with their openings?
Well,
you think?
it has to do with their openings because people are idiots. Terran, Zerg, and Protoss all alike. And the probability that you have two smart people getting to endgame and playing it out how it's supposed to be is very, very low because you have a lot of volatility in the early game stages as it is now.
Okay.
So I'm saying
All right,
a lot of people aren't playing the
let's
game.
introduce our players since we're like 2 minutes into the game now. Go
Yeah.
ahead,
Good
Andre.
idea.
You can take the introductions. to this game.
All right, guys. Sorry to go off topic a little bit, but we got in the bottom right hand corner TGuN as the pink Zerg over here.
T-Gun, pretty in pink. GoSu Hollister right there. That's his new tag. You heard it here first.
And then, Doa, you can take it, man.
All right. Well, in the yellow, in the lower right part of the map, from the newly formed Team Light, we have our player that's not requesting a pause because he'd rather just play the game and be a man. It is KawaiiLight Light.
So
There we go. All right, so
we'll
now
go
I can
back
tell
to.
my story.
We'll go. No,
my story.
Scott. Okay, go.
Oh, your story sucks though. Okay, so my buying pay him TT1 cheese story. So we're at the NASL finals, and myself, STX, one of our players, and Huangson and my cousin are at Denny's. And the majority of Europeans walk in with Payhem, and they go to a different table. And some random waitress walks up to us, and she looks right at me because she had no idea who they were supposed to say it to. And she looks at me and she's like, "I saw your games today, and you play really all-in and cheesy."
Wow.
And Huangson's like, "What's going on?" So I told her to go. I bought a little like cup of nacho cheese and brought it over the table, and I had her tell them that we only all-in people that aren't worthy to play us anyways. And it was really funny, and everyone was laughing, and it was a really good time. And that's the end of my story.
All right. It's a good start.
So, and Pam did eat the cheese, by the way. That's very important. He ate it.
He ate it.
Okay.
All right. What's going on with these builds?
What's a reactor Hellion thing from KawaiiLight? Pretty normal.
I think the
Pretty
only
standard, would you say?
only difference is the fact that there's no gas, which triggers KawaiiLight instantly to actually go and harass, because it forces a lot more Zerglings than normal. That's one of the main keys. You see no metabolic boost, so your Marines can do a lot more damage, especially when you get up to that 4 region. This is unacceptable. TGuN, I'm going to yell at you for losing a drone.
So, do you think TGuN's playing too greedy? We were talking about over greedy openings right now. Do you think this is an example of that?
It's not greedy. I don't think so. It's just another way to actually play out this particular matchup that kind of had a huge uprising back in maybe like a year ago, I want to say. Not a year ago, not that long. Maybe 8 months ago. It was just really, really popular. You go up to around like 40 drones, 46 drones around there, and then you throw all 4 gases down at the same time. He's going to do that a little bit early, though, it looks like. But still, the overall premise is that you get a lot of drones at this early game stage. Rely on just your queens and spine crawlers to keep you safe, and then you go from there. But he might be running into a little bit of problems right here with the first 2 Hellions coming over.
Well, that was like that Ice Fisher thing, right? If you went up to like 40 drones.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. That actually is just insane to drone that hard, especially in ZVT. I would hope that not too many people do that anymore. I don't think a lot of the Koreans do.
They do not.
That's
the greedy ones, right?
And just to let you know, no, this isn't greedy just because it's getting punished. One thing about StarCraft that I obviously don't go too far into in my cast, but I do in my stream, settle plug, it's about ranges, right? And the problem with going this type of build is that, yes, you get a great macro and you get awesome economy, but your ranges are pretty limited. And what I mean by that is your ability to go from, one tech to another tech. Right now, you can't really be going super fast upgrades. You can't really be going super fast muta just because your gas is so delayed. So normal timings, I know exactly how to make myself efficient. Like, I know there can't be a 10-minute mutalist timing at this point. So now I can just completely forget about mutas coming anywhere before 10 minutes, and I don't have to spend any turrets. I don't have to get anti-air, little things like that. But it makes you play so much more efficient. And the Zerg don't have that luxury. They don't have the ability to do that. So they play, in that respect, they play a lot more inefficient. And it just works to, much tougher decisions going into that mid-game stage.
So, with Zerg then trying to do that, with that, inefficiency and everything like that, if they did go for something like a faster Mutalisk, like what you're kind of saying there, wouldn't that hurt them economically? Because, isn't the idea for Zerg specifically to always be ahead economically at any cost of your opponent? Because if you end up on a, same level tech, but also same level bases as a Terran, for instance, that would put you at a disadvantage as a Zerg player, wouldn't it?
Okay, so it's going to be like a little bit of trade. Oh, God, you stupid idiot. Go away. It's going to be a little bit of trade. Sorry, Pyam messaged me. It's going to be a little bit of trade, but basically, like, it works out. In theory, you're kind of right.
Queens
yeah, I
are
know.
chased down.
But T-Gun's actually losing some queens here. This is kind of important.
This is the
He's spreading
longest
creep up
chase
the right side of the map in a very
crap.
strange way, but that's a
That
interesting
creep was up
choice.
there just for that queen to run. That was the only reason.
I guess so. That's
It was efficient.
all right. So a
too,
little
that
bit of
queen got-
elevator going on for KawaiiLight, and he is actually going to kill a lot of things if he controls as well.
Absolutely. It's a really good position for KawaiiLight to be in.
Not bad.
Greetorp, what do you think of elevating up the Hellions over the Marines? I see a lot of people do that vice versa. Is that just because the ledge is so far away from the mineral line?
I don't know. I think it's just more of a poking type, but I don't hate either or. I think they're interchangeable, really. But yeah, it's pretty negligible, I think.
I think if you see later gas, you should probably put the Marines up first because it'll be a little bit more efficient to have the Hellions on the low ground, not getting hit. Just IMO, because you don't have to worry about Banelings as much.
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, I'll agree with you.
Look at that, super fast upgrades though for TT1. He's already going for 2-2. Looks like he's going to go for the Ling Infester, probably Ultra later on style.
You just said
TT1 cannot get into this podcast.
Seriously, TT. That's why he's probably messaging all of you.
TT1 needs to be on the show.
No. I refuse.
He plays Protoss. He doesn't have any place here.
Yeah.
This game.
I actually asked him to, and he told me he's the laziest player in StarCraft.
He is, man. TT1 is literally the laziest person in the world. I always see him with the same exact shirt on whenever he's training. It's a stupid Levi's shirt. For all you people that watch his stream, it's his Levi's.
Maybe after he sees how much fun we're having, he'll realize.
If he was actually going to be on the show, I want to ask him about that hat and how that came about, because he's like, that hat is everything. It's like, I know TT1 is the guy with that hat.
It's true. So, looks like T-Gun's a little bit behind in supply right now. I mean, he is going for a pretty aggressive sort of teching upgrade build, and he needs to be really careful with these Zerglings here, man. He cannot engage with that number. That's way too small.
I know the way T-Gun likes to play this matchup is he likes to just mass upgraded Lings with a few Infestors and literally just make a ton of Lings and Infestors, and that's the way he enjoys to play. So it really depends on the Terran and how comfortable they are against that, because a lot of Zergs don't do that, and it really does throw people off guard a lot of the time.
Well, it's kind of Stefano-esque in a certain sense, and I suppose Damago was the one who really started doing this a lot. The Ling Infestor heavy upgrade style, and then you eventually go into Ultralisks, but those are generally just bad units now. So I don't know how I feel about that.
playing this so well with just really sending just a few units around the map to see really what's going on, what he's up against, spread apart his units. It's really smart. I like the way KawaiiLight is playing this. T-Gun with that creep spread, they're blocking that third command center from dropping. That's got to be just a little frustrating for Kawhi.
Yeah, it's really freaking annoying. I want to go actually into detail, afterwards about T-Gun's particular build. I won't do it right here because it's going to take a little bit. But I think right now, even though KawaiiLight looks like he's sieging up, I think he right now is ahead just by the builds alone. And I'll explain that a little bit later, but I think this push is going to be really hard for T-Gun to stop. He does have 2-2 though, that's going to help quite a bit, and here we go. It's 2-2 against 0-0.
Oh,
nice
move with Infested Terrans. Draws the siege tank fire. This could actually work.
Falling in with more Infestors. This is really well played by
Really
T-Gun
nice little maneuver.
Supplies are very, very close.
Yeah.
I have about 20 supply right now.
You got a little bit lucky that KawaiiLight didn't see the shimmer of the Burb Infestors, but ended up working out pretty well.
He does pretty much. Oh, KawaiiLight's taking a really bold third there for that creep.
That's actually so smart. That is really smart,
he's just
man.
controlling the map. This is brilliant. Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, this is something common we see a lot of times. Here we go, the Infestors are coming in again, and they're going to poop out even more units. Now he needs Marines critically, but they're going directly on top of the Marines. Zerglings are going to spread in, and this is going to be way too much for KawaiiLight, I think.
Yeah. Nice
T-Gun really using his units to the best he can possibly control. TT1's at it again.
He is infiltrating this podcast.
He is TT1. He's made himself a part of our show forever.
I don't know what TT1's doing right now, but nice job. Whatever
he's actually watching the podcast.
On.
That's what he's doing.
Good job, TT1. You are watching the hell out of this podcast, and I appreciate it.
So, T-Gun here going ahead and getting himself with a pretty substantial supply lead. He's up about 30 supply right now, and really controlled his units really optimally there, and did a lot with the little bit he had, so to speak.
Yeah, he has a gigantic advantage at this point. I think KawaiiLight kind of misplayed that mid game, even though I said he had an advantage. I was terribly wrong, apparently. But TGuN is going to further his lead, take this expansion over here in the mid right-hand corner. It's exactly what he needs to do. And as soon as 5-3 hits for his, or rather 3-5 hits for his ultras, he should push out, and he will have the most ginormous timing attack on his opponent because KawaiiLight has not started 2-2 until just 30 seconds ago. That's a big blunder.
Absolutely.
What do you think of this map, man? I'm not a big fan of like really any of the new Blizzard ladder maps, but this one, I mean, I don't know, it's got so many kind of weird little things to it. Maybe it's just because I haven't played on it enough. It's got a pit in the middle of the bottom of the map that looks like Australia, so I guess that's cool for TGuN, but
honestly, I think these positions are hugely imbalanced for Terran right now. So KawaiiLight losing is, well, he was playing to the map a little bit, but I think it's just minor, not minor, but like the upgrades are a big problem. And that's what we've seen kind of the metagame switch to in all matchups, really. Just everything based around upgrades, because I don't know why they feel so much stronger. The upgrade differences, they feel so much stronger in StarCraft 2 than my experiences in StarCraft 1. So,
well, especially if you're talking about like mech units, they get so much stronger now. Yeah.
Yeah. But even the Marines, I mean, the Marines are doing nothing.
Yeah, I mean, KawaiiLight's really, he's not really trying to drop or anything like that either. I mean, there's little things he could be doing to sort of get an edge here, and I mean, he needs to take risks at this point if he wants to have any sort of chance of winning this game. And he's not really taking those risks. He's kind of just sitting back and kind of turtling, and I don't know, he's kind of like waiting. It seems like he's kind of waiting for TGuN to make a mistake, but I don't know if he's going to.
Well, Ultras are out in the field and 5-3 is up. He should go and utilize his advantage right now because right now KawaiiLight is at 1-1, just about to approach the 2-2, but still think if your Marines are dealing 8 damage and I have 6 armor, it's going to take 250 shots just to kill one of
losing 2 infestors there.
Oh, here he goes. Attacking up a narrow ramp. I don't know if that's going to end up being the best idea in the entire world.
Where the Lings are pouring in. Ultralisk got there pretty quickly. Supply is really evening up here, though. Really quickly. Not really the best position at all for TGuN to take this fight.
Well, there's just no reason for TGuN to attack here. I mean, he's got his opponent contained on 3 bases. I don't know why he attacked. I mean, just expand. Just make him come to you,
That trade
is maxed.
No, I have to say I agree with that trade. I love that trade,
so?
actually. Yeah. Right now
he's so far ahead, it's okay, but don't you think it's a little bit risky? What about, get more ahead?
He has upgrade timings on his opponent. I don't know if he realized that. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he did. He should have known that, seeing that he was at 0-0. His opponent was at 0-0 when he was at 2-2. And as soon as 3-3 hits with Chitinous Plating, I automatically go when I see that. So if he identified that correct, and I think he did, because that attack seems really out of place, but for the upgrade timings, it was perfect. It's exactly what you want to do. And the fact that he still retains his infestors, what does he have to reproduce? It's only Zerglings and a couple of Ultralisks here and there. That's a great way to actually trade out a lot of Marines and a ton of siege tanks at a critical timing. Obviously the macro is in favor of the Zerg right now, so that push, I think, was exactly what he wanted to do. It was definitely the right move.
I just get so nervous when I see that, man.
Bigger as well. This map is really interesting. I think this map's going to be really exciting when some of the Koreans that practice on it all day figure out some more creative things. Because if you look at the ramps, there's so many tiny little nooks and crannies that I feel like you could be so creative with, with bunkers, even cannons, pylon placement, stuff like that.
Well, cross position will definitely favor Zerg. Close position is going to be a nightmare for Zerg, in my opinion. This game is a little bit, well, it's kind of off just because of how everything opened. I don't agree with how KawaiiLight opened, but at the same time, I don't really agree with how TGuN opened either.
KawaiiLight is trying to take that expansion again. Down so much supply, moving some of these tanks down his ramp. I really don't think it's going to work out too well for him.
It's really interesting seeing this because we force cross positions on this map in IPL. doesn't result in games like this.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Interesting force propositions. A lot of infested Terrans for here, all over these tanks snap around. So you got way too much damage right here. So many infestors. How many infestors is that? T-Gun with 18 infestors on the field right now.
wow. Jeez. Going for the Greater Spire too, so he's going to be able to come in and siege this third base location from that nice big open point on the map, and it won't be hard for him to create enough Corruptors to kind of keep up with whatever the Viking count is for KawaiiLight. And at that point, I mean, if he can...
56 links and starting 6 Broodlords all at the same time. So many units.
Yep. Yeah, he's going to be just fine. I mean, it's going to be pretty impossible for KawaiiLight to come back and win this game. He's never going to be able to take a fourth at this point.
Yeah, that's...
It is a BO5 though, and there's going to be a lot more games in the series.
Oh, yeah.
But these brothers are going to come in here and just wreck face just because the tech advantage obviously goes massively to T-Gun. He's not prepared for that. 2 ghosts on the way out though. So he does know about everything that's going on, but at this point it's just way too many infestors. So these are backed up, and there it is. GG.
GG. Yep, knows he doesn't have what it takes to pick up the Broodlords, and that is that.
Next game, we're going to see some pro Greetorb impressions for sure.
Oh boy. I can't do it tonight.
Oh,
Don't
God,
even ask.
I hate you. All right, so let me talk about the openings a little bit real quick.
Well, we're just on a commercial break. We just took a commercial in between maps.
All right, commercial break.
I'm going to do that in between maps.
WB, everybody. Wow. All right, so here's like a perfect example of the openings. T-Gun going for Zerglings and Infestors off of a drone-heavy type of opening. What he's basically doing is... Okay, think about it. You're not getting gas that fast, so your evolution chambers are going to be slightly behind relative to what the range of how fast you can get your upgrades are. What I mean by that is you can get your upgrades a lot earlier, right? By not going just like that type of opening. You see what I'm saying, Doa?
What KawaiiLight did?
No. What Zerg did, what T-Gun did.
Oh. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is that normally you would see Terran getting upgrades a little bit quicker with that build than KawaiiLight did. So yeah, I think T-Gun did luck out a little bit in the upgrade department for sure.
Exactly. So what he's basing his play on is his Zerglings, because he doesn't have a great gas count at that mid-game stage. His Zerglings to really take over. So it's kind of coin flippy in that stance, because really you don't have a huge advantage in terms of upgrades. You don't have a huge advantage in terms of infestors, just because the relative, I guess, amount of both of these, or the time of both these, it could be a lot sooner in the Zerg's favor, right? You could be going straight to them. So what I'm saying is that T-Gun went this build of massing up a huge Zerg, or a huge mineral-based type of army. Whatever it was, it's because he focused on minerals in the early game. And then what did he do with it? He went these Zerglings that were okay. Let's say Terran did something like a 2-fact reactor type of opening, something that Thorazane did tomorrow every single time in the NASL. He would be completely shat on, right? That whole time he would be completely shat on, because he can't do anything with it. He's just There's nothing else to do, and that's a clear example of how you can be punished really easily, and you have no indication of it. So I think overall that opening, you have to go something like Zergling Roaches, and for KawaiiLight not to punish that, or just the way he did punish it with the drop type of play, I don't think that's correct either. Just because what the drop play does is really stretches your opponent out on mobility, but when you're going up against someone that you've seen go so many drones in the beginning phase, you know they're going to be very Zergling heavy. That means they can take care of multiple positions and multiple spaces. So in general, I think going that Marine Hellion opening to actually counter that particular build was slightly incorrect. I shouldn't say incorrect, rather slightly non-optimal. It was not optimal at all. And these are the little things that I'm talking about, where we know they're top players relative to the scene, the international scene, but there are still some little things that they don't do in accordance with how the map should be played, in my opinion. Savvy?
I mean, I don't see anything wrong with going for like a Reactor Hellion expand opening, but we see a lot of players. I'm trying to learn more about the Western scene, but I'm still very much in touch with the Korean scene more than anything else at this point. But there's been so many Terrans that have been kind of getting around that by going like Banshee, for instance, after getting a couple of Hellions out just for some map control. So it seems like other players out there are trying to punish this kind of thing, and punish it in like the harshest way possible. You know, I mean, if you have Banshees, that really derails whatever the Zerg is trying to do a lot of times. But I don't know. I think it was more a problem with KawaiiLight's sort of decision to not be aggressive for most of the game, other than just making kind of like one push and just letting it kind of sit there for a while, than anything really with his response to the build itself in the early game. Does that make sense?
Well, I think the early game, though, sets off T-Gun in a really nice way, though. By him going for the early metavacs, your opportunity cost is going to be something like upgrades. Or in this case, I mean, he did go combat shields, so he did go stim, so he's definitely not getting his +1/1. So he kind of screwed himself because he didn't do a more aggressive pressure, and then at the same time went a tech deviation that had nothing to do with the tech that his opponent was going, or rather the non-tech that his opponent was going, the eco tech, I guess. So it's like little tiny things like that, like the builds in response don't really line up, in my opinion, and that's why.
Well, let's take a look at.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say let's take a look at this game then. We've got basically something very similar from KawaiiLight. He's going for that Reactor Hellion. He did decide to go for the command center before everything else. So a fast third command center too, and T-Gun in the meantime getting his gas. Seems like a little bit earlier than he did last time as well, but no Roach Warren or anything like that. I don't know if he scouted the reactor on the barracks or not, but. What do you think of this fast third command center? I mean, this seems like it would be the type of thing that you're talking about with players playing super greedy. I tend to think it's something that, because Zergs are playing so economical right now, Terrans can get away with. But I don't know. What do you think?
I've actually been playing with this a lot in ladder, and I know it sounds
me too. I actually love it.
So sick. I know it sounds so sick, but this is absolutely super safe. Like, you can defend against anything. Roach Zergling all-ins, Roach Zergling Baneling all-ins. Any type of muta play is actually garbage against this. Actually, was it me and T-Gun that were talking about that? No. Me and Vi were talking about this. How this counters the 10-minute muta play so well, and it's because you get like a supercharged economy, and you just rely on Marines to hold off everything. It's the most efficient way. You just get amazing upgrades, fast 1/1, fast 2/2, everything like that. And, Zerg can't really punish you all too well, except if they macro themselves, and it forces a macro game really nicely.
Okay. And we do see more barracks coming up for KawaiiLight, so he's going to be going for that more heavier Marine style. I'm a mech TVZer myself, so I kind of get through it with lots of turrets and Thors and things like that, but...
Damn, son.
I love mech, man. I mean, mech is the way to go. I can't imagine playing this matchup any other way.
Gotta have lots of race cars, man. Gotta have lots of race cars. They're
mandatory. Dude. Race cars are the best, dude.
Very interesting.
Playing race cars?
The sport crawlers throw me off so much. I have no clue what this is.
Maybe he kind of was thinking that it was going to be Banshees after Reactor Hellions just because he didn't see a lot of Hellions and didn't see a lot of any other tech buildings or any other production buildings when he moved his Overlord in. I don't know.
Yeah,
Just guessing.
Yeah, he definitely misread it.
Yeah, that is not
I
a
would say
standard
so.
thing. I think.
No.
I mean, obviously he was just playing safe because he got such a late lair, and this is gonna hurt T-Gun so much. Like this late lair is. I would say this is probably the worst possible position he could be in. And I know that sounds really weird, but like I'm saying this from like I guess back from when I was actually training with all my Fnatic friends and everything. That's what I would tell them. Like this is super off right now because his lair is delayed. He doesn't have a fast third. Where's his advantage at this point? And I can't give you a good answer. Like he doesn't have really any advantages in terms of like what he's defining his role into this mid game.
Well, if you look, unfortunately, he's sitting on like almost 1,500 minerals and 600 gas, so his macro is absolutely really not where it should be right now. I mean, he should have a macro hatch. There's no reason why he can't be playing like Leanox style here, just playing really heavy, solid 2 base, get that quicker layer, like you said, and then once he's feeling comfortable, adds on that third. So, yeah, I mean, things definitely off the rails a little bit, I would say, for T-Gun this game. But, I don't know. It's interesting to see how he'll end up coming out of this because he will be behind, and he didn't really get any discernible advantage from sitting on 2 bases for a long time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
KawaiiLight is
Will he double
probably
expand?
a little scared at this point. He's probably expecting maybe around 11-minute mutas, so I should see a lot of turrets actually going around his base. Possibly. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he's putting his opponent on because overall T-Gun is doing a really weird build that just is all over the place, but we do see a fast 2-2 yet again. But still, I wouldn't be surprised.
He's kind of transitioning.
Sorry?
Well, basically...
He's transitioning the same thing he was doing the game before.
Yes.
Basically what we're seeing is that, he is going for a similar style. The difference is that everything's just a little bit later because of not being able to get that third and then not putting down a macro hatch and then getting the layer late, so he just wasn't able to spend his money as quick as he kind of would have wanted to, I think. So it's the same thing. It's just a little bit later than everything else, which makes it not quite as good as it could have been before. But I don't know. I feel like I'm being really hard on T-Gun, but you can see it's definitely confusing KawaiiLight because it's like you see a lot of lings, but then it's like you don't see the spire or anything like that. Oh, something's coming in the back here, and they're gonna do a little bit of damage.
Yep. Not too much there.
Workers really kill. Only one worker killed really, so.
It's actually
surprised KawaiiLight didn't scan.
Really expensive to do that. You don't want to be doing that, of course, sending in Zerglings for no reason, but a lot of people think Zerglings are free. They are not. But 4 Hellions will be picked off in the middle of the map. Nice fungal growth on them. But KawaiiLight should do nothing until 3-3. Or 2-2. Like the beginning of 2-2 or the beginning of 3-3, but towards the end parts of 2-2 and everything, once he's established, hey, my opponent has gone for the same thing, every single one of his pushes are completely garbage if he's pushing at the end of his 2-2s because he should realize, okay, my opponent got a later third. That means his 1-1, his 2-2, all of his upgrades should be slightly earlier. That means that he should play defensive until he gets that 2-2, then he's equalized, and then he has to back off, and then 3-3 hits, and then he can actually do something again. I'm sure KawaiiLight will see him play very passive for quite a long time now.
I'm excited because T-Gun is getting Neural Parasite. That could be the makings of something very entertaining.
Ooh.
We'll see.
Money scan.
Oh, there's the scan, finally.
Money scan showing the Hive Tech is coming up, so does introduce a potential timing. A lot of times when I see this Hive Tech come up, I do want to push within a good 20 to 60 seconds based on greater Spire timings that could potentially pop up. That's what I want to actually look for. And what I'm trying to do is bait as many gas units as possible, whether it be infestors, banelings, whatever it is, and then just back up a little bit. It weakens the Hive Tech quite a bit. So it basically says, you've gotten all this Hive Tech structure, you were saving up your gas, I'm going to negate that quite a bit, and that's why we see KawaiiLight. This is like a fake push-up right now, and this is only to bait as many gas units as possible out of T-Gun.
Yeah, and unfortunately for KawaiiLight, that probably isn't going to work with the strategy T-Gun is doing, but it's not, it's not because he's doing the wrong thing. Like you said, it's probably what you want to do, but just the build that T-Gun is doing just isn't the type of thing that's hurt by that quite as badly, because he's going to be making a lot of lings either way, it seems like.
Oh no. KawaiiLight getting a little bit too far up, I think. But you can see 2-2 is just about to finish. There's 30 seconds away. So he actually wants all engagements to actually start then. He doesn't want to obviously start when it's 2-2 against 1-1. That would be highly disadvantageous for him. But you can see the slow, very methodical push by KawaiiLight, not overextending himself on the creep. And of course, this is what we were talking about. This is when he's most vulnerable. The Zerg player is most vulnerable. This is where he really wants to be saving up all of his gas for that hive tech stuff. And as you can see, T-Gun's gas has been relatively low, and that's not really where he wanted to be at.
Yep, and he's not going to have an easy time taking a fourth or anything like that too to make up for it, unfortunately.
Yeah. Unfortunate for him, but of course KawaiiLight will. So Mazel Tov to him. Ooh, Infestor play.
Oh, I love this Burrowed Infestor stuff, man, but I don't know, I feel like I just always get so worried when they do that it's going to get scanned, man. I mean, because you can like see the little shimmer on the ground. I feel like it's way easier to see that kind of stuff than it is to see like infestors, you know? Or I mean, observers and all that.
Yeah, he needs to be so careful. And KawaiiLight, yeah, you can see, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's like, it's really, really minor, but there's like a black shadow, and there they go. And we might see a big push in right here. Siege tanks aren't actually all the way sieged up. And a ton of Zerglings pushing in.
T-Gun is so good at engaging with this army.
Oh, yeah.
He did the same thing last game and just crushed everything. He's like, you can tell this is something that he does like almost every game. Because he does it so well. It's awesome.
Well, in our team practices and in our practice games we play as a team, I see him do this all the time.
Yep.
And it's so effective if you really don't catch these infestors. However, it's a really gambly build, I feel like, and really kind of gimmicky almost, because if your infestors get caught in the middle of the map, you can't just throw those away. They're too expensive to just throw away like that, you know?
You know, it's pretty easy to shut down. And I mean, I'm not even like a pro player, and I like to put a sensor tower out there with my army when I'm moving around the map. I mean, for me, that's because I play mech and I have SCVs with my army the entire time. But I would think that as the game goes on, a lot of pro players are going to start adding on things like that too. I don't know.
One of the
What
most
do you mean you're
important
not a pro player?
I mean, I don't play professionally.
Yeah, you do. You're the White Nest team, man. I've heard this before, remember? You won the GSL.
That's right. That's me. They call me. Yep, I don't know. I don't even know what like a funny name for that is. I'm too tired. It's too late. I'm sorry.
One of the most important things I
Tea.
think about that was the fact that he went into the middle of the map. That was like a big no-no. Like, that's where Zerg is going to be strongest, and he's trying to hold the center control, which is not the best, but here we go, another big engagement.
Yep, and the Ling's getting in without taking too much tank fire, but such a huge... sorry, such a narrow choke to kind of move through. But he's going to do a decent amount of damage. He's getting KawaiiLight to shoot his own barracks, which is kind of nice for him.
His positioning there is really, really good. I like how he's pretty much blocked off the whole portion of this map, so it's really tough for the Zerg to actually engage. Although at this point, T-Gun is really going to favor trades as he takes more bases.
Oh, T-Gun doesn't really even need to engage all that much again, you know what I mean? You can just take the map at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. He's feeling pretty good right now. Just transferred a bunch of drones to his fourth.
Yep, just take the map and then siege him up eventually. He's going for Ultralisks though. I see Zerg players go for Ultralisks more on this map it seems like than any other map, and I'm just not sold on Ultralisks at all, man. I mean,
well, Brood Lords are really bad on this map, that's why.
Yeah, there's a lot of open
There's no good place to actually put Brood Lords other than if you have center control, which is actually really, really hard to get. So you'll establish, well, here we go, another big attack. And the Infestors actually being picked off immediately. The Sea Tanks were focus firing, but that's going to be the end of that. Is it going to be enough, though? A lot of the Zerglings being cleaned up before the Ultras actually get in range. This might be actually really, really good for KawaiiLight.
Yeah, no kidding.
KawaiiLight's in a great position here. Did a lot of damage to this. KawaiiLight's actually taking the supply lead for a moment here as well.
Oh, that was really good for KawaiiLight.
Yeah.
But he
like
saw us at
T-Gun, though.
infestor count. T-Gun has been so good with keeping that infestor count, man. That has probably been his one biggest strength I've ever seen in Zerg.
Yeah, you see
infestors are
so
good.
many Zergs just like throwing their infestors away. It's really hard to watch sometimes.
Dude, how many games have you casted where it's just like throw infestors, throw infestors,
Oh
throw
man.
infestors?
Oh man. I call it the infestor headbutt, where they just A move, but they include
Oh
their
my
infestors in the
God,
army,
yeah.
and they're just like running into siege tanks. Yeah.
It's even
All
better
the
when the
time.
infestors are actually leading the charge.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Dude,
God,
It's like
if I
SCVs.
had like a
Oh
dog
God,
every
SCVs.
time.
KawaiiLight sees it and he's like, oh shit, I'm gonna get out of there. But yeah, normally Ultralists will give you some sort of center control because they are pretty good at breaking that center coming from 3 sides. And that's what you normally see in these openings. And then Broodlords slowly get transitioned into. But a lot of times you just stick on Ultras just because there's always positions where you can easily snipe or you can easily use Vikings to kill the Broodlords. So it becomes really difficult for you to do that Infestor plus Broodlord type of composition.
You know,
I
T-Gun
think one
really
of the
has
big
done a
problems
great
with that
job.
too is. Well, yeah, I mean, he's doing an excellent job of controlling the tanks with the infestors while not losing the infestors. I mean, this is one of those situations where going Broodlords on this map, would actually work a little bit better. If you can legitimately keep your infestor count high, you can actually pull it off, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the supplies right now, T-Gun with a huge supply lead again all of a sudden, and that was, not that way just a few minutes ago. He's denying that fourth so well. And eventually, Kawhi's just going to run out of money if he can't really saturate that fourth. And because he went for that base in the middle of the map with that planetary, with the middle ground, it's going to be really hard for the infestors to do much.
Oh, here he goes.
In the middle of the map.
Yep, and is he going to be able to kill everything? It looks like he is. And there goes planetary, so T-Gun just has a gigantic lead right now.
About 100 supply lead right now. Here's the GG.
Wow.
So
That is sad, man.
talking a little about that game, I think the most critical thing was KawaiiLight lost his first push by pushing up too much. You can even see, I mean, look at the score. I'm going to go to the graphs real quick. Army value, I mean, you can see KawaiiLight, he has a good army for most of the game, but right here, that's the critical point where he can't lose out. And it's basically where Zerg hit that hive tech or, are able to crush the Terran. Really, there's no way that that Zerg should be able to kill a Terran just on Zergling Infestor alone, especially if you're holding a defensive position. It's just KawaiiLight put himself where he could be flanked from 3 different sides, and it basically nullifies the siege tanks by such a large percentage.
Yeah, for sure. Somebody posted my my profile in chat, my Battle.net chat, or my Battle.net profile. Yes, that is my original
really?
Dota account. It's true, but I don't ever use it other than for show matches and things like that.
Hey, Doa's an amazing player.
So
He's
there
a
you
white
go.
SD. We already talked about this.
So yes, I'm one of those people that ladders under secret names. I don't
me
like
too,
my
man.
real
No,
accounts
well,
getting out there.
Taking a quick commercial break while I wait for the map. Has he said you the
All right,
map yet?
BRB.
All right.
Do you know the map yet?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back with the
What's up?
Australian Stallion and the
Australian Stallion.
GoSu Hollister.
and what do we call the Asian man? KawaiiLight. We call him the
We just call him KawaiiRice because his name already has rice
the
in
Asian
it.
sensation. Easy.
That's so unoriginal, though.
Shut up.
Andre, that is so unoriginal, Greetor.
You're
I'm
unoriginal,
disappointed.
all right? All right, Scott, I want
You
to
just
hear...
call him the Asian sensation, all right?
How dare you? I want to hear your announcer voice, man. I want to hear your announcer voice. You have to do something crazy like I was doing last week to introduce the players, okay?
I have to do something crazy?
Yeah.
You really gonna make me do this, T? You really gonna make me look... I'm gonna make you look silly, though. You know this, right?
Yo,
As
yo.
long as you know that.
Go,
They're
go.
ready to go. All right, son. I'm going.
All right, let's do it.
I want to hear it, and then I'll do mine if I think I need to.
If you think you need to.
Easy.
So you want me to do an impression you're saying then, like last week?
Yeah, man.
Ooh, it's gonna be tough, man. I don't know. I don't know if I could hold it down like you, dude.
It's a tough job.
It's a tough job. What
Sounds
should I do?
tough.
Should I do it? Should I do like a redneck hillbilly impression?
Dude, that would fit you perfectly. Go, go.
Fit me perfectly. Thank you so much.
JK, bro.
Well, all right, y'all. In
Nice.
the top right-hand side of the map up in here, we have a very good Terran player from a team called Light. They're pretty good. His name is KawaiiLight. And down here on the left side, we got this Zerg player from Team It's GoSu Esports, and his name is T-Gun. All right, top that, Andre. Boom.
All right. Alright, y'all. In the top right hand corner, in a dual side, we have the yellow Terran. His name's KawaiiLight. In the bottom left hand corner, as the, what is that color? It looks like a pink color. It's FXO T-Gun. But he ain't playing for FXO. He playing for It's GoSu.
Someone said you sound
All
like a
right.
gay cowboy. That was what you were classified
dare
as, so I
you.
think I win. I auto win.
How dare you?
Someone
I was
called you a
actually
gay
going...
cowboy. I didn't
Excuse
get
me.
called
I was
that.
actually going for an African American mother, okay, from the South. Thank you very much.
That's actually what I thought.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
We didn't say what
was-
kind, okay? How dare you? How dare... Oh,
Hey,
hold
they
on.
told
I have to
me
write
stop, not me.
How dare you? There, done.
Hey, the chat can vote. 1 for me, vote
Shut
for me
the-
because I'm awesome. 2 for Greetorp. Give me this 1-0 lead on Greetorp. Come on, chat.
Uh-huh.
How dare you?
Oh, you guys. You kids. Oh, it looks like we got some Mortal Kombat, but the drone comes out on top as usual. Drones are OP, as we all know.
Yeah, man.
They are. They're a good
Yep,
unit, man.
they are.
Them CVs. Us poor guys have to
Dick
deal with
drones.
probes.
Well, I have to deal with SCVs, man. I mean, they don't heal or anything. They don't get shields. All they
You're
do
right,
is
but they
build
keep
buildings
them
and sit around and be vulnerable.
SCV is good attack units, man. It's because you're not all in every game. That's your problem.
Dude, fusion
attack
cutter, range, melee, speed, 1.5, 5 damage, drones,
Yo,
range,
bit by bit
melee,
says that
speed
fusion cutter's
1.5,
good, okay?
damage 5.
I missed the
You say
days when
so.
SCVs were 60 hit points.
Oh, tell me about it, man. That was awesome.
you
They could
guys know
take a
Amshi,
tank
right?
shot,
You know
keep
Richmond?
going like a boss.
I know, man.
What?
You know Richmond, Namshire, he used to play for us. He doesn't play the game anymore. I told him one day, because he used to like 2 racks Marina CV all in every game, every race. And I told him
He
in the
did,
patch
actually.
notes that... Yeah, he did. It was so bad. I told him actually one day that in the patch notes it said SCVs were getting stim pack, and he got so unbelievably excited. Incredible. It was awesome.
It's just like drilling as fast as they can, just like, ah.
No, he wasn't thinking about drilling. He's thinking about stimming across the map even faster, just like coming up with all these like crazy SCVs. It was so funny. Greetor, you know what I'm talking about.
Dude, I know. That guy... He made
was really good.
he made SCVs more than any macro Zerg or Protoss or Terran ever did, man. But he was like, "Oh, you think I'm actually gonna mine with this shit? Nah." And he sends
Nope.
that, yeah. It's like, what the shit is this?
It's the
So,
truth.
yep.
His
Standard.
barracks were never in his base. They were always up the back of the map. And he killed so many people with it.
Alright, so it looks like KawaiiRice is doing a double reactor Hellion build.
Ooh. Yeah.
And this is gonna punish him so hard, man.
This is what you were talking about, man.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's
And,
almost like he's listening to the stream or something.
you know, I think if he gets to a good number, especially on a map like Dual Site, if he gets to a number like 12, which is very, very normal for something like double reactor Hellion, he'll be in an amazing position. You can see the drones are pulling off.
Oh.
And, ooh, he's actually going to send him in. Wow, this is really bold. I don't think he should be doing that.
No kidding.
Saves.
No.
Whoa, I thought he was going to... Alright, he almost lost both of them.
Yeah. Well, he's going to need to repair those. Hopefully he does. I mean, that's the other thing it's good that Terrans, for the most part, have learned not to just send their Hellions in to die for, like, the chance of killing 3 drones or something, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
I hated seeing that.
But, you know what? T-Gun did spot it out. That's why we have 3 additional spine crawlers going down. But still, I mean, with the mobility, or excuse me, 2 additional spine crawlers. But with the mobility of the Hellions, I still don't think it's going to be enough. I mean, he's going to have so many Hellions as well.
Now would be a good time for me to mention that if you guys like what you see, please follow the stream. Please check us out.